All right, so welcome to Free Game. Trying something different tonight. Actually going to be trying to stream on actual Twitch and stream on YouTube. Um, using Ecamm Live. But the main topic of tonight is basically to talk about music, AI, and where is this kind of headed. Um, I used to be a skeptic of certain apps, especially the ones that pop up on your social media. The one that I am speaking of is called the SUNO app. And, me personally, I enjoy writing. I enjoy creating poetry. Um, that's just one thing that I kind of got back into. So, what I would normally do is I either would write to no beat or I would actually find instrumentals online and I would write to an instrumental. Um, I think in the past it used to be a while for me to find inspiration. I used to ask people for inspiration, but for not like since last year, to be honest, pretty much God has given me most of all of my inspiration to write. Um, and I guess that was pretty much me just detoxing away from a lot of things. So sometimes I might be on here back to back. Sometimes it might be a week, might be a month. Just meaning sometimes you just got to step away from technology a little bit and touch grass a little bit. So um, for me, like I said, I do find my inspiration when I detox from a lot of things and I step away from a lot of things, and my creative side comes from that. Um, but talking about AI, talking about this app called Suno, man, I personally feel like it's a solid game changer. Those who are writers, they will have a lot of fun, and I do recommend. Every video I've seen, you can Google it online. You need to pay for a subscription so you can own the rights to the music that you create. Also, if you are into writing and you want to take it places, look at registering your writing so you can have your writing copywritten. Um, the whole thing with the vocals and everything else, you pretty much on the app, you 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 tell by putting prompts what you want the vocals to pretty much sound like. So if you want country, if you want rock and roll, if you want hip hop, if you want slow blues, R&B, whatever you have and again the best thing about it is you can mix different genres of music and create something new. I think that's why people who are writers will love this app. The updates, I think it's on something called V5, where I mean it places everything where it needs to be. If you are somebody who likes to play instruments, pianos, guitars, it will take your creation to the next, um, next limit. But I do recommend if you do plan on um, using the app, like I said, to create a um, buy a membership, just because you don't want to stumble onto something and then you have it's not yours. You're not credited for that creation. So, um, like I said, I recently started using it just to mess around with it. And some of the things that I've listened to, I was just like, man, you know, speaking for myself, I don't like, of course, my ears to my own creation, I was like, wow, this sounds crazy. But I'm a fan of lyrics. I'm a fan of the blues, old school R&B, old school hip hop. It's not too many rappers that I'll listen to nowadays, but I'm a fan of lyrics, pretty much. One thing I like about it is it takes so much time it gives back to yourself. When it comes down to processing which instrumental you would like, um, mixing and mastering, like all those things that will take a long time that I've experienced in the past. And it probably, to be honest, because it takes such a long time and it was such a struggle to try to get somebody to mix and master and listen to what you had to say. Like, this gives you a shortcut to do all those things and create something that's yours. So, um, I've already seen videos of Timberland, and I'm pretty sure other producers will utilize it. It's like any other tool. It's like the evolution of a cassette tape to a CD to digital to streaming. Um, this is just a part of it. And for those individuals who want to stay independent, I recommend that they do try to stay independent because you can own the rights to all of your stuff, and uh, you just put it out there. So you know, like I said, I like the fact that it gives you time back. If your whole thing is I love to write, then you get more time back to yourself to where you can actually get back into writing and you're not so caught up in what I need to mix, what I need to master, um, what I want something to sound like. Is it pretty much now you have to tune things up the way you want it because sometimes you might have a rough patch and it might not sound how you want it to sound, but there's so many different features on this app to let you do that. And it goes by a credit system. So it just saves you time on the things that might be a nuisance for somebody who choose to say their true passion is just getting it off your chest. And I've seen many people that was conflicted, which that's normal. I've never seen it or anything that was technology based that came about didn't keep people conflicted. No matter if it's a horse and a buggy or if it's somebody who wanted to do newspapers while the internet was coming up. Every single time there is something that will either change the game, and those who are trying to be the frontiers of it will reap the benefits. But it's just like the stock market. You can't stay so much on that direction. You got to see where it's going. You stay in the game, you're gonna be holding the bag pretty much. Um, so yeah, so far I've created a couple of songs. Um, and I think I got a game plan of how I want to kind of do things. I am gonna probably put most of everything on Spotify first, and then possibly Apple Music. I will also put some content on my Substack, which once I get it figured out for Substack, far as the video and the audio, I definitely want to get in my bag and start putting content on Substack for paid subscription. And that's just to go in details when I'm talking about it don't matter if it's talking about sports, my local sports with either the Detroit Pistons or Lions, or if I'm getting to my Christian bag and we going over Bible verses and giving people my interpretation, my perspective, um, mental health, that's which is moving mountains. Um, you know, I like I said, I'm somebody it's hard that you can't box in, to be honest. I'll get into my conspiracy bag and all the crazy videos I see circling the internet and give my perspective on that. Or relationships. Well, some of these relationships that I see on the internet sound like conspiracies, to be honest. But you know, just to give perspective. Um, sometimes I might be gaming, man. You can't put yourself in a box and then you try to figure it out later. You kind of gotta um pretty much be yourself. And if any one of those categories is yourself, especially my career as a therapist, because I always tell people, man, respiratory is clearly was meant for me because I love education, love being a advocate for my patients. Um, love to inspire them to um, push themselves, but I always recognize that the goal that I have for them is for them to make it home, not just to get off the ventilator. Um, I think it was a true blessing because it definitely kept me grounded and kept me humbled of me being in the hospital and seeing the things that I've seen. Um, so I felt like clearly things you go through in life is your source of inspiration when it comes down to writing. Um, but with all that being said, I want to kind of get into and play a couple of songs. Um, see if it actually a play on here. Some songs that I've worked on so far. So 1 second. All right. Um, like I said, I got a lot of stuff written. And I don't even know if I touched 20 songs yet. But these are just some of the takes that I got so far. So and I love it that this thing gives you two different versions of your writing. So that's one thing I like about it. You just navigate of where you want it to go. So so like I said, I'm giving just samples tonight. Um there's a couple of samples of a couple of things I've been working on. But like I said, man, like it's you know, one thing I like about this is you can record your vocals, right? You put your vocals on there, you tell it you want it to have a little bit of soul, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of blues. You kind of navigate it to where you kind of want it to sound like, and the rest is the platform, and it's gonna do that for you. So, like I said, this that was just one of the songs that I created. Like I said, I'm gonna put the whole thing on Spotify. This is another song that I was working on. So again, backseat perspective, and that was called Paradise. Um, I know it's playing for sure on my Twitch. I'm just trying to figure out if YouTube Live is actually picking up the audio from the website. Um, Still learning how to kind of do uh the YouTube Live. No, that ain't what I want. So that's it. It's to be honest, I just feel like it's one of those, man, where if you don't use it and you love to be doing music, like your passion is music, regardless of how you feel about the industry, then you might be doing yourself a disservice because you're leaving things on the table. And that's how what a tool should be utilized. It's not supposed to be used to replace. I don't think that this is one of those things where you say, "Hey, write this," and they write it for you. When you say, "Hey, sing this," and sing it for you. Like you ain't putting no import into it. I think the whole goal is it's supposed to be a tool, and it points you in in the direction, but you use it as a tool. So yeah, of course, some people will use this to write for them. Might be some people that'll use it to do all the vocals, the instruments. That's cool, but I just still see this as a tool. And you know, um, like I said, we live in a weird time where we didn't put pressure on regulations, so things is still kind of freely moving out there. Still a lot of things they haven't figured out when it comes down to how should something be regulated. You know, like that's the hardest part because if somebody came out and was like, "Oh man, they sound just like this," and then what you can be like, argument is 400 something people that can sound just like this. So you know that's the thing that you got to prove. The sounding part is what you got to prove. The lyric part is if you own your lyrics, then it's your lyrics. But the way something sound, been in enough churches to realize you can catch that sound from anywhere. But you know, it is what it is, man. That's why I say, man, it's gonna be very interesting from the legal aspect of where AI and music start to collide. You know, I've already seen it, and I gave my perspective to somebody earlier about um, where do you see performers, people who are AI creators, and they do music. What will it look like in the future? I think personally, your place to look at is um like K-pop. I think if you look overseas in Korea or you look over in China and how the way they do music and the way that things are performed, you have a lot of digital performers. You have people who are not a actual live artist, but they'll do like a hologram of Pac. You know how they had a hologram of Pac and still sell out tickets from that perspective. Like I'm telling you, look at the whole game and the franchise of how they do business. Look at how they tend to do e-commerce. They make millions and millions of dollars doing e-commerce because they mastered um, something when it comes down to e-commerce. Um, so I do feel like for people who want to see a live performance, where would it be going? I mean, so far you've only seen. This is the saddest part about the internet. Like there are very good performers out there. There's people who have aged gracefully, and there are the people who have not aged gracefully as performers. And you still see people who are holding on to dear life as a performer to try to show that they still have it. And sometimes the craziest part is it's been nights that they have killed it. I mean, killed their set. They did a good job, hell of a job. But the recognition is not there. You only see the recognition or it pops up on the internet when they fall off the stage or they did a dance move and they made a mistake or the way they dressed was crazy and it's always something negative. But like they can have uh 49 hits of doing a performance, but that one time is the one that goes viral because they made a mistake. And I mean, I feel like the internet sometimes will highlight the flaws and mistakes instead of saying, wow, let me actually see that this person did such a great job. And because they're human, because they're known to make mistakes, then you know that's just what comes with it. It's like we highlight negativity so much, we got used to highlighting negativity. And to me, that's a problem. I feel like, you know, that is one thing that can push people to say, well, you know what? Okay, well, we're gonna have a digital performance, something AI or some type of um like how they did Tupac, you know, a virtual augmented reality version of a concert and a hologram, and people come in, and the crazy part is if they go in that direction, then the companies who own the rights to that hologram, like they can do a performance any and everywhere. It means you can book your talent at every single NBA game. You can book your talent at every single NFL game without worrying or paying the fees to travel. You can have commercialized concerts at any venue, and it's based on the crazy part is, do you still feel the vibe and you still feel the same type of energy? Now, personally, I think it's a world where both will exist. Those who love Woodstock can let it perform in front of thousands and seeing thousands of fans. And then there's some that just like, listen, I just love to create music and you kind of can miss me with the performance. Like that's just something that's not in their nature. So we'll see. We will see. Here's another song I got. That's just another sample. Um, like I said, man, it's crazy. Like personally for me, I got so much in the tank as far as writing, and what I'm trying to do is just go down a list of so many different things. But like these are just early songs, right? So these ain't even the ones that you sharpen your tool when it comes down to hold on a second. So basically when you sharpen your tool when it comes down to writing. Like this ain't this ain't the best, is what I'm saying. Like it's clearly things that can make writing or my writing go to the next level. And I definitely feel like once I got into how easy it started to get for me, um, concepts was like flowing. And every day was a challenge when I got into writing. I was like making sure that, I gave myself 24 hours before I started writing, sit in silence. And, you know, sometimes it's perspective, and sometimes it's not my perspective. Sometimes it's straight up God telling you what to write, because it's been times where I thought I might go in a certain direction with something. And to be honest, it was like you will get like three signs will tell you from multiple places where you should be focusing your time at, when it comes down to writing. My whole goal is to not for self gratification, but to help others. Hopefully, they get a message out of anything that I'm putting out there. I am somebody who values substance. I think when I used to write back in the past, it was cool. I used to look for um inspiration from others. Um and then I seen where it was going. And to be honest, I was just like, this might not be for me. Like this don't sound like something that I want to be a part of, because I wasn't just into the party life, the club life like that. Yeah, did I go? My homeboys who used to rap, they used to have a group called Stack Music, and they used to perform at all the clubs downtown. Um, you know, every weekend pretty much. You know, and if it wasn't going, then we was building studios. We had one on the east side of Detroit, Wayne State. We had one on Illinois, Southwest Detroit, and like old school days are just like hot boxing, thinking of topics, and then literally doing the same thing over when it came down to you know trying to get stuff going. Back then, it was about who you knew. We figured it out, trying to get one person knowing. And the problem with that was you had everybody playing the, you know, playing the sideline for somebody else's dream. And to be honest, I didn't realize how much of an introvert I am, because I do better when I am by myself. But that don't mean I need to do everything by myself. You get what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can get distracted in your creativity. You'll think like, is it coming from you, or is it coming from? Are you just reflecting? Like you might be reflecting others and other people's point of views, because you are surrounded about like around the life. You know what I'm saying? And you know it can get very very at times you can get lost a little bit. Then you look back and be like, damn, did I write that? Like, that don't make no sense, but that's what happened. You write your experiences, you reflect in those things you done went through. And I mean, when you get to my age, I mean, you feel like you definitely got some stories to tell for sure. Um, most of my stories is about uh, the flaws that I see, the redemption that you can have, and you know, a little bit of a fatherly chastising, because chastising is a way that a father should show love. Is they want you to be better, they want you to do better. It's not somebody out here trying to give people what they want to hear, but kind of give them what they need to hear, pretty much. So, and that's just my perspective, man. Once you listen to a lot of the things I wrote and dive into it, some things that I wrote, like I said, about over a year ago, and I'm like, dang, wow. And I definitely wrote some fire towards the end and wrote some stuff this year. But it's just like back then, I was just like, man, like this ain't no joke, man. Until I really took it serious. And personally, I felt like therapy, writing is a form of therapy. It's a way to get things off your chest. There's no reason for you to let stuff build up. No, get it off your chest. The world will give you something, you spit it right back at it. So, that's my whole take on writing. Like I said, when I come across people, patience, I tell people, man, tell your story, because no one can tell your story for you but you. And if you leave it to somebody else, it's easy for them to mischaracterize your story, because you never gave no opportunity to tell your own story. That's what I love about blues, and why I had a passion for blues when I was younger. Because one thing about blues, it tells you, the side of the story that ain't about uh like all um shiny, fancy, and flashy. When people who do hip hop and they talk about those struggles that come with it, those are testimonies. And how I write is based on like an old blues artist, and talk about testimonies. You pull yourself through the fire, through it all, create something that's dope, and you know, find a way to keep going. Now, yeah, at the end of the day, can you monetize off of it? Absolutely. Get on Twitch. They got plenty of commercials on Twitch, try to build you up a platform. Same thing with YouTube. Turn all your social medias to a business account. If it's Instagram, Facebook, X, um, and then also funnel people to where you have subscriptions. So if you got a Patreon, have a Patreon. But what I would recommend, as much diversity I have on my YouTube channel, I would try to keep Patreon specific on a specific topic. So when you get there, you know what you're gonna hit, you're gonna listen to. Same thing with Substack. Like the whole goal for Substack is to reach out to those individuals who, for one, might be like-minded. We want to break down the word, give perspective, and also talk about poetry. So, I feel like have organize your platform so you know what you might get when you get there. Plain and simple. And another gem is I recommend people to look at the trend, look at what people is clearly need and they love, is which is ironically food. You know what I'm saying? Food videos, the videos of people cooking, making certain meals, those things go easily viral, man. They do numbers. Now, the whole thing is, can you put it on TikTok, put it on Facebook, Instagram, and just run up the numbers. Like, I'm planning on once I get extremely organized and really get into the creative side because I love to crack jokes with the most of them. It's just my personality. I mean, I can't help myself. Um, I want to do content like funny content, voiceovers, just because I know my personality and I can't help myself sometimes, especially depending on like what I see or what comes up. It come natural, but I don't leave it to myself to say what it is. It's up to the audience to determine, um, if it's funny or not. So that's the I realize like I'm not expecting people to take a listen to music and just be like, oh man, they run with it. No, I expect criticism. That's cool. Some things, some criticism I can pivot. Some criticism I can I can utilize, and some I just be like, it is what it is. Difference of opinions. I ain't tripping over it. If the goal was for me to just go in here and like want to write songs and put hooks and stuff, verses, that's something I have done in the past. My whole goal for writing this was to see, for one, if I still had it, and for two, it was therapeutic for myself, especially with all the things I went through in the last, I want to say, for 5 to 6 years, coming through a pandemic. So yeah, man, um I think it's a solid foundation if you are a creator and you are good with your pen. And I know for a fact that there's a couple of podcasts out there that are definitely artists, and they probably don't want to record themselves, but they can't help it. If you like, you don't understand, like from 2012 to 2024, I ain't write nothing. I got back into writing in 2024, but I stopped writing in 2012. Like I said, when stuff got stolen, passion, passion for it, I just gave it up. Had to focus and buckle down and make sure my education was there because I needed a foundation. I needed to create stability. It's the part of growing up and realizing that you can't be trying to live out dreams and fairy tales and all that other extra stuff. Like, no, you create stability first, take care of your business, and then you navigate in all the extra things you want to do in life. You do it. You want to get a trade, get a trade. You want to know how to create videos and edit videos, learn how to create and edit videos. Into writing, right. So it's ways, is levels to it, but you got to make sure your foundation is stable. And that's the thing I had to do in 2000 and 2012. And you know, life, meaning things will get away from you. But when they come back, it's muscle memory. You be like, man, I forgot I had all this in me. So, that's the pretty much part of the free game. Um, like I said, I don't know if anything was able to play on my YouTube. I know the Twitch should be pretty good. And it don't really matter because like the plan is I will be putting stuff on YouTube, having a couple of clips, but I will have the full songs on like a Spotify or um Apple Music. Um so like I said, I got a lot to convert. I'm in my 20s. There's some songs on here like Fate I gotta redo, revamp, but it was so deep of a song that it could have been a book because I had to break it up 4 times. It's 4 songs in one. That's because when you write, like when I'm writing, sometimes it's just nonstop. It's like you just writing. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody got to grab your hand and tell you, all right, that's it. That's enough. So some that might seem like it's short, and some that's like, man, I mean, you could have went on for like 15 minutes. But the whole goal is not to keep your ears, you know, captured and locked up. The whole goal is just to break certain verses down so people can understand perspective of the writing process in the first place. Um, Now I know there was another AI app people use for vocals, and there was another one that was using the edit music. But so far, like I said, this SUNO app is personally, I feel like it's a game changer. It's so crazy how quick it produces, and not just quick it produces, but when you want to tune something up and you want to remix it, like it'll keep all your words, but it does things that will take a long time if you ever had to go through that process. And it's an expensive process to go through. So it's not like if you ain't got a unlimited budget and you can just cut the budget any way you want to. Um, One thing you will recognize that, yeah, I used to love to write rap, but most of my stuff is gonna fall under R&B because I became more of a fan of traditional, old school. I always had a fan. I was a fan of like the blues, but to me, R&B in the last few years, no matter if it's Anderson .Paak, if it's Sir, if it's Black, um, Ty Dolla Signs, like the lyrics, me personally, they have changed the game and they have raised the bar when it came down to lyrics. Now, I am a fan of the Kendricks and the J. Cole's, and Drake has done his thing when he's writing, um, and but there's I feel like, oh yeah, it's a couple cats, Jonah Lucas, Toby Noewe, um, yeah, there's a couple of cats. Absol, like there is a few cats that I definitely will listen to. Like I definitely was a fan of Nipsey when he was out. Um, but what I'm saying is like R&B, just the way they mix the lyrics with melody is crazy. Um, so the Ro James of the world, um, those guys really have influenced um my perspective when you can create melody and lyrics, especially when you want to get aggressive and you still got melody. It's crazy. Like it's the combination of both worlds. I got aggression, but also melody at the same time. So, um, yeah, man, that's the gist of it. You know, for those hopefully that get inspired, keep writing. Um, like I said, I got a lot, a lot to you know, master and figure it out. Um, I think I got like about 20 songs on here. Man. So, like I said, I got it's man, like I feel like I got a lot of heat, man, but just ready to put this stuff out, man. Lots and lots of heat. And to be honest, it's one of those things where, you know, you challenge yourself, you know. God's gonna challenge you to write because it's a lot of songs on here that was challenging. And it was some songs where you challenged yourself. You gave a challenge to somebody else and you put it upon yourself. I think when I wrote about the missing, that was God telling me to write about the missing, which was children that was running away from home and not knowing that the best one who was going to supposed to show you love is your parents. And patience and forgiveness is something that they need because the world is a cold world, man. And I kept seeing like from the news and on social media, it was like one day it was crazy. It was like nothing but in my feed, and I didn't understand where the feed was coming from. But it was just like missing children. And then I think my bro had called me and told me about his daughter that was like ran away, but he knew where she was at. And it's one of those where like three times you get uh that warning or that, it's God telling you like you know what you need to write about. And you can't um when you align yourself and you choose for your free will to be God's will, you got no choice. And I'm glad that I did write about it. Now, um, Black Swordsman was something that on the creative side, I was like, I challenged my brother to be like, hey man, I know you like to watch um, shows like that. So why not challenge yourself to write something that's inspiring of something that you watch? And with that being said, I challenged myself and I challenged him and I said, well, let me write something about a black swordsman. And the crazy part was it was just supposed to be um like one song. It turned out to be like four different chapters because I started getting into character development. I started to get into the perspectives and the backgrounds of all the other people that was involved in this universe of the black swordsman. And it kind of like introduced me to if I was going to write a book, well, this is how you do it. It's how you go and give background stories of people who hold some importance of a whole series. And I felt like it was dope. I definitely felt like it was something I would love and enjoy to do again, and it's something that can challenge me, can challenge anybody to when you get into your bag to push yourself and keep doing the things that you are doing currently. Um, so yeah, it's called uh Black Swordsman. Um, but yeah, Piece of Me, Uncharted. Um, I think Divided States, Grudges Against Me, Paradise, Backseat Perspective, Agenda, Love Story, Testimony, Judgment, No More Wait, He Knew, Fate. I got like Fate times one, Fate times three, two, Fate times like four. It's crazy. I got Free, um, 7-Eleven Part 1, 7-Eleven Part 2, Free Game, Identity Crisis, The Collective, Drunk Off of Poetic Justice, uh, then Parking Lot Pimpin', Final Form, Superhero, Supervillains, Young Profit Off Dollar Signs, Lost in Virginia. So yeah, you know, quite a few for right now. And these are just early. like early getting into my bag. I ain't really get. I felt like I ain't get, you know, super crazy. I feel like later on, certain songs later on, I can't wait to see what they do with it. Cause man, like it's just very deep. So I can't wait to see for those days to come to see what those sound like because the lyrics is just gonna be like, man, yep. So with that being said, make sure you follow me, like, and subscribe. Check me out on Twitch when I'm gaming or talking, chopping it up, going live. Um, like I said, or check me out on YouTube. I will be talking about a whole range of different topics. Like I don't think nothing is safe when it comes down to topics for YouTube. I'll be talking about relationships, talking about music. I will be talking about sports. Go Pistons. Go Lions, Red Wings. I will be talking about the physical and mental health when it comes down to moving mountains. Um, I also will be talking about um, uh, Christianity, which is deception versus transformation. Giving my perspective and things that I've went through and gone through by reading the Bible, going through that Old Testament, realizing the New Testament, the ones who inspired me, breaking down some videos that I've came across from people who poured their hearts out into preaching. And crazy enough, some of them, the pastors I came across, are no longer ever with us, but because they transitioned. But I mean, got a lot of different topics on Christianity because definitely feel like faith is your foundation. I will also be talking about finances, which is bet on yourself when it comes down to finances. Meaning, just the whole premise of this is just to make sure you're just not a shadow in somebody else's dream. Like you're not just uh, playing Robin in somebody else's dream. Push yourself to create something for yourself and your next of kin. Have ownership. I also will be going in. I said the music already, current event breakdowns. So current event breakdowns, like I possibly might be putting that on YouTube, or I might just actually focus on more so on X for current event breakdowns, where I might go in there and talk about certain things that might be in the news. Like I said, nowadays it's just too much stuff for me to even keep up. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if I want to keep up with some of the stuff that's going on. It's like every day is something different. Distractions and distractions and distractions. I talked about physical and mental health, live stream, playing video games, mainly Call of Duty, but also playing on getting some other games as well. Just give a couple of like game breakdowns and go from there. Life of a respiratory therapist. I think that is something that I was requested from my mom, but I think I'm really like doing respiratory breakdown videos because every time I come home, I always have a story to tell for my wife, and I go into details about you know certain things that I went through, going through, um, you know, people I have helped, saved, and gave them the grace that God gives us every single day. So anytime you can help save somebody and you save a life, you're giving them grace so they can do the things they need to do when it comes down to getting a relationship with God, because you're giving them time to build their relationship and to repent and strengthen their faith. So I think life of a therapist, and you know what, I'm gonna like that one because like my whole job is based on education. I am going through and I am telling people how they can build themselves up, even if it's not just a respiratory therapist, but if they further their careers in the healthcare field. So I will be talking about uh, just breathe in that journey, and then also I want to talk about the journey, which is breaking down the different things that I'm currently using. You know, Rode microphone. I got some wireless GoPros that I will be doing video content on the go. Using this computer. Um, I have a Canon camera just to be shooting content outside of my house. My house. So like I said, man, they are transforming Detroit, and I will be putting content up from the videos and the images and pictures that I'm taking, and I will post most of those pictures will be on my Instagram page, and it will be just of outings and dope pictures that I think is dope in one located area, which will be on Instagram. Um, I do like photography. It's crazy. I think my dad does too. Um, but I will definitely be doing that. Um, and the journey is just also talking about stuff I use. I've used I'm using Ecamm Live. Um, I use CapCut for editing. Um, I'm going through the process of creating shorts on YouTube, the Substack. Um, Also using X for video games. So when I'm recording, um, breaking down the music aspect of it. Like I just told you, this was a video about SUNO. Because I used to use GarageBand. Um, just showing the process of creating content. That's pretty much what it is. So others, can follow in the footsteps, because at the end of the day, you know, as the world pours into you, hopefully you pour into someone else. Um, I already told you about conspiracy videos. That could be pretty much anything that's crazy on the internet. In my perspective, is it AI? Is it not? To be honest, I feel like it's so much deception and people crying wolf because of AI, where you don't know if you can take anything serious. You don't know if it's real, if it's fake. And to me, that's a problem of deception, because when you can take a video and you don't know if it's real or not, I don't know. It can just you can leave people desensitized very quick. Um, so those are just a couple of different topics I got. Um, and then also plan on trying to collab when it comes down to making podcasts. Just to chop it up. No matter if it's with the homeboys or if it's online, talking about gaming or whatever it is, just to you know collab. Um, like I said, I need to make sure. And one thing I'm learning too, because this is the first time I've streamed on YouTube and streamed on Twitch at the same time. So I'm learning something new every single day. But this is something that I possibly will be doing in the future, just to make life a lot easier. So with that being said, make sure you like and subscribe. Check me out. And that's what I got for y'all. Peace.